welcome to another Slightly Redneck video. Decided I'm sick of filling water bottles for the rabbits, so today I'm going to build an automatic watering system with a 5-gallon bucket. So stick around, we'll show you how it's done. Let's start off talking about what you're needing. Of course, the first thing that you're going to need is the watering valves themselves. This is what they look like, and they come in a kit where they include the T for hooking up the hoses and the valve itself. And I'll put a link below in the video description so you'll be able to see exactly which ones I've got. You're going to need hose that hooks up to them. Now this is just a short piece, and of course you're going to need much longer than that depending on how much you're going to be watering. Take this with you, or excuse me, take this with you, the T and the valve, when you go to buy your hose. Now this is 5/16 inch inside diameter hose. It fits mine, but when you order them, they may be slightly different size. So just take this with you to the parts store, check out the hose, make sure it fits, fit it on there before you go, make sure you got the right size. You're going to need some silicone to do some sealing, and this is just, I think it's upside down, there we go. This is just regular old silicone. You can use whatever kind you like. And of course you're going to need a bucket. Can't hold on to anything today. I've got a 5-gallon food grade bucket here that I picked up at Lowe's. I think food grade's important so you don't have to worry about chemicals leaching into your water system. And you're going to need a drill. And I've got a 5/16 inch drill bit. And here's what my plan is for this. I'm just going to drill a 5/16 inch hole in this bucket, and I'm going to stick this T through it, and that'll allow me to run one hose off the end to my watering system, and I'll run one hose straight up, which will give me an idea of what my water level is inside the bucket. So as I get this done, hopefully that'll make sense. Where I want to drill my hole is about an inch or two up from the bottom of the bucket. I don't want it at the very bottom of the bucket because then any of the sediment that captures in the bucket was going to go through the watering system. So I'm going to put it up about, I don't know, a couple inches from the bottom of the bucket. And I'm just going to drill a hole here. It's flushed out pretty good. And then the burrs off of it. And then I'm going to take my T here and I'm going to stick it in with one point up, one point straight out. And this is going to be a little bit of a chore to get in there. I'm going to have to push pretty hard, which I expected. There we go, all the way in. And I think that's going to hold up pretty well. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of hose here, and I'm just going to cut off a small piece of hose. I'm going to fit it on the inside, if you can see here, on the inside of this T to act kind of as a nut to hold it on there. So let me get this clipped real quick, and I'll come back and I'll show you what that looks like. So this stuff's pretty easy to cut. You just take a piece, cut it with a pair of scissors, snips right off. And that's going to be my nut on the inside of the bucket here. Let me get it mounted on here and we'll take a look at it. Alright, so this is what I've got going on here, and I've just got a piece of hose pushed over the barb, and that keeps it from, if you pull on it, keeps it from pulling out and putting too much pressure on that. So, alright, so I got that mounted, but it's not airtight or watertight, so I'm going to put a bead of silicone right here around the, where it meets the bucket. And it's going to be sloppy and ugly, but it's for rabbits, so who cares. And finally, I'm going to go ahead and install this while I'm waiting on that to cure. And this is just going to go on the upright post of this. Whoops. Let's try that again. There we go. Alright, so I've got my T installed, I've got it siliconed around, I've got my, this is going to be my water indicator, and basically this is just going to sit on the side of the bucket like this, so that, once I fill this with water, it'll indicate, it'll level out here on the hose, and it'll tell me how much water I've got in the bucket without me having to open the lid and look into it. And since this is going to be hanging up pretty high, that's going to be pretty convenient. So I've got to let this silicone cure overnight, so we'll pick this project back up tomorrow. Well, the silicone's cured, and I'm testing it out right now for leaks. It looks like it's holding up pretty good. I wanted to show this out here. I don't know if you can see that on camera or not, but this tube that's sticking up that I ran for my water level indicator, I want to show you how that was working, because once I get it hung up behind the rabbit shed here, it's going to be impossible to see. So you can see the water level marks right there, and that's where it is inside the bucket. So this will be a good visual indicator for me to make sure that there's always water in the bucket. I'll be able to see it, but again, once it's hung up back there, you probably won't be able to see it very well in the camera. So I just wanted to show that off ahead of time. So we're ready to go. This hose right here is where the main inlet's going to go in. I've just got a hose hooked up to it so it doesn't, just a little extra piece of hose so it doesn't just pour out all over the place, and I can check it for leaks. So let me get it hung up, and then we'll go on with the rest of the video and get this thing built. Okay, so like I told you, it's going to be really hard to see. You can see my bucket way back up there in the corner though. The rest of this stuff's pretty simple to do. What I've done is I've just run this hose out from that bucket, and I've got a little bit of extra hose right here. I've already cut it to length, and you just cut it with a pair of scissors. Just put it where you want it, snip it off with a pair of scissors. So this is where my first water bottle is going to go down. I've already got these pieces cut, and I'll show you. I've already got it connected, and that's very easy. It just pushes right into there. You just push it right into the hose. I will tell you with these waters, you can see that it's angled, and you've got a part that sticks out more. That part goes to the bottom for the rabbits. So whenever you install it in the cage, make sure that's facing down. They'll bite on that to drink from it. It's got a little spring that hooks on there. That's going to hook on one side of the cage. I'll bring you in close and show you how that hooks up. But to hook these together, this is very easy. You just take one of these little plastic tees like this. I'm going to push it together on one side. Push it together on the other side for my hose going to the other cages. Hook in my hose that's going to go down. And then I just need to hook it up to the cage, and I'll bring you in closer for that. One thing I want to talk about with your bucket placement, best practice is to have it where the nozzle is above your hose. So in other words, your bucket sits here, your hose sits down this low. That ensures you get the most water out of your bucket system. If you have it raised up a little bit higher than your nozzle, then you'll stop supplying water to the rest of your system before it drops below that nozzle length. So hopefully that makes sense. Just raise it up a little bit. As long as your nozzle is higher than where the hose coming out feeding your cages sits, then you're going to be fine. Okay, again, pretty easy to hook up to this system here. You just take the spring, you feed it through the little hook there. I'm going to hook it onto the cage, and again, I want it. I'm going to twist this around. There we go. Make sure you've got it going the right direction. It's going to go into the cage this way with that piece on the bottom, like I said. I want it sitting right about here. So what I'm going to do is probably need to be inside the cage at the same time. Hook it onto this one side. There we go. And then you just pull it across and snip it on there, and that's it. It's there. So that's all there is to hooking it up. So let me get the rest of these hooked up, and then we'll get some water in here, and we'll close this video out real quick. The only other thing is to show you the end. This isn't a high pressure system, so I just folded it over on itself and put a zip tie around it and tied it off. So that's all I did to the end, and that keeps it from leaking. So, okay, so I got them all set up. I'm going to test out this first one, make sure everything's working fine. Make sure you run the air out of the lines. All right, that should work. Nice dribble of water every time you bite down on it. And the only thing I'll say about this is that make sure, and go to each one of these and do this, run the air out of the lines, make sure that they're getting water to them, keep an eye on them. And if you've been feeding your rabbits or watering them primarily out of bowls and stuff, it may take them a while to learn how to use this thing, so don't take their other water source away immediately. Make sure they know how to use the rabbit watering, or the nipples first, before you take their water away from them. Okay, so that's really about all there is to it. Very easy project, very cheap, cost me maybe $30 total. I'll put links below to all the products that I purchased, so you'll be able to price them out for yourself. And hopefully you'll learn something from this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button below if you want to keep up with updates like this on my rabbits and things. And as always, God bless.